manager, of course, you guys know this. Your number one goal should be to make sure that you've got it handled on the division side. That's not rocket science, of course. But I'm not just talking about the wins. I'm talking about the nuances of drafting and making sure that you have the right matchups. You have to think that way, or I think you're being left in the dust. And on the coaching side, I'm fascinated by this year's coaching carousel. Not only fascinated, but we said about Bill not having a job or Vrabel not, Dan Quinn going up to Washington, not to get away from your division, but I think it's really important to see what you have there and the changes and how they're happening and what's driving them is something that I find fascinating. Why didn't Eric Bieniemy get another opportunity?
Where are you at on that? Because there were a lot of reports that came out of D.C. that players maybe didn't have his back. He's kind of an old school coach. Can that work? I mean, it seems like that's scared some general managers off from considering to be a head coach. And now, is he going to be a position coach next year?
Okay, I'm going to use the word again. Eric's a tough ass, right? And but I think you can be a tough ass third time or fourth time. Excuse me. I'm earning. I think you can be that tough guy, but you still, and you guys know this. You guys are fairly young. You have to have a little bit of an empathic approach to it, right? If you don't have empathy and you're just drilling it down people, I don't know if you guys ever get a chance to go back to Bobby Knight, God rest his soul. You listen to some of those diatribes, at halftime, and it stirs some guys like me who are in their mid-50s, like, oh, I remember that. That was my dad yelling at me at my house. We love that. This group, your age group probably does. You guys in your 30s?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys probably, and the players aren't bonding with that. I guess my point is, Eric is tough, and he's going to drill it on people. I get it. It's going to be really important to make sure that he understands that you got to navigate that. And you can't just say, it's what I do, it's who I am. You guys move on from me then.
It's just so weird because 2 years ago in Kansas City, he couldn't get enough of the players. I thought to be like, I loved it, he made me better. Travis Kelce said he made me better. Like, those players were vouching for, and look, they did a padded practice in the rain yesterday. Maybe they just like that approach as a team.
That's a good point. But why? Why did it happen there? So that was 2 years ago, right? He's going to have the guys that he knows that he truly did help make better. He probably goes into Washington, and those guys maybe they just weren't used to that. I don't know. It's tough to say. I am surprised that he's not getting another opportunity. Surprised only because, I don't know. Was it all because of that? Again, not only is he a tough guy with the players, but he's not a guy that's going to be a wallflower for a general manager. And general managers understand that. Back to our early discussion, they do want an element of peacefulness, especially the first-time GMs. I brought in Mike Smith as a head coach. I thought we did a great job there, humbly enough. Mike won Coach of the Year 3 times out of 5 years. That's a big deal. My drive as a first-time GM was I wanted a guy that I was going to be able to work with, not be at loggerheads every day. So GMs do think about that.
Thomas, before we let you go, we always ask our guests here from Radio Row their official game predictions presented by Spice and Foods, the official sauces of the Kansas City Chiefs. So how do you see this game playing out?
Oh my gosh, are you guys really going to put me on the spot?
Yeah, we'll get some sauce
and
for
look,
you as well.
We know that you're friends with Shanahan, so we'll factor that into your decision.
Look, here's what I can say, and I love both sides. I think both. And I always look at it from a GM standpoint. I think both John and Brett. I love what they both do. They do it in a different way. And I look at Shanahan and I said this recently. I said if he would be one of the guys that would knock on the door if I came back as a general manager. And I've never said this in my earlier years that I would think about trading for a head coach. I think it could be an unbelievably good. He would be one. However, this is a huge, huge game, and he needs to win this game, I think, to get over this hump. I think there's a stat. Is he 8 and something in postseason? Really impressive. He's got to win. He's got to win the big one. So that didn't answer the question. I don't know where to go with it. Thank you, guys.
CEO of Silver Sports, former Falcons general manager. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up next here live on Radio Row in Las Vegas, we will check in with the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs, Clark Hunt. Not just about this week, but in April, the ballot measure, 3/8 sales tax extension, renovations headed to Arrowhead. We'll find out some more details about that.
Gentlemen, see you. That was good.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Tom.
Thank you.
Feel free if you want. You can take
I'd
some.
love to. If I were to be at home, I would. You guys do good work here. How long have you guys been on
We're
the
back
air?
from break.
We're in year 5.
We can come in for Easter. We're back for Easter.
Was that
Meaning like, we'll be ready at 1. So 1 o'clock.
So the shows before us are the same time, so it didn't last that long. So
That's great.
usually it's on the radio. You guys are Eric a long time. I worked at the station.
I got you. I got you.
Regularly.
Okay, yeah.
So like I was working at Vegas, I've known Aaron at least just like
Yeah, and he's on the ball. I laugh all the time, and I say here, Eric Eager, he's a PhD in math, the math of plants. And I said he could be an assistant GM any day in the NFL. In my mind, I really believe that there's gonna be more chief of staff.
I think it's important. I think both still matters. Like you gotta like. I think this is going to get this side of the camera. At least know about it.
I'm not sure, but he's best with it.
Which is like I saw the moment in which
He was best with it.
He's walking over.
yeah, it got you.
Okay.
Like in the moment in which you can go up to resources, you still have to sometimes change your stripes in a short. The numbers can say what's necessary, but you still have to occasionally
Yes.
like listen to what your guy's telling you about. Like just 3 scores in the second quarter on the road.
Right.
Just take it.
Yeah. No, that's right. I guess when I get carried away, now that I've been in this data company for 2 years, it's not that hard to comprehend. And maybe I wouldn't 4 years ago, right? Meaning,
It says we can do
guys,
this.
just look at it and see what you can
Hey,
benefit.
if we're still in commercial break, we can even do it.
Doesn't
We
in
can do
any
it
way
before.
mean that we're going to
That's what
make
I'm saying.
decisions.
It works out nicely.
I keep going back to it. And I say to some of my buddies,
So they want to go pretty quick, so once they take a picture down,
even if it's for that, just be so that the other doesn't think you're old school.
I guess as soon as you start, as soon as you see him, just hop on there and Nathan see how long
The
it
good news is we're already at least a minute or 2 minutes break, so we're not going to take care of it.
There's a lot of sons of owners now who are really, again, as I mentioned, I just think they're precedent for their dads to listen to them. Yeah, that's all. See you guys.
Thank you. He said that
all good.
He said
Thank you.
that Clark's already walking in, so we might see if they can kind of break a minute off the break. Which right now, we're actually okay because we already went to break. 'Cause he's coming right now. He's over there. So
Okay.
He's behind you. He's behind you. Hey, Nathan.
See
How much time left in break? Clark, he's headed in here a little early, so we probably, if possibly, might want to cut a little
I
bit
think
off
what
the
we're
break.
gonna do,
but
we're
how much
gonna,
time?
Cody, we're gonna take, if we can, we're gonna take a picture before and then hop on.
Okay.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good. How are
Nice
you?
to meet you, I'm Drew.
Hey, Drew. Good to meet you.
Alex Clark, nice to meet you.
Good to see you again. Good to see you. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
How's the week been? How are you?
So far, so good.
Take a
Yeah.
quick picture real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You take photos.
Oh, yeah,
Either
that's
get
right,
it
yeah.
backwards or take it off.
That's right.
I think Drew's got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, get the chair out of the way.
There we go.
One, 2, 3.
Appreciate it. All right. Awesome.
Have your chairs now.
There you go. How long have you guys been here?
I'm sorry.
How long have you been here?
Oh, we've been here since Sunday night. Yeah,
Sunday
so
night?
we got in Sunday night, and we'll be here all week. So,
Yeah.
What time? You guys got in? You left Sunday too. Or did you leave Sunday?
No, I came. Team came Sunday. I came yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for opening night last night.
Gotcha.
Long week.
Yeah.
All right. You all right?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay.
You hear me good?
Yep. We're back in about 30 seconds.
Back here in Las Vegas on Radio Row, we're We're live from Radio Row. We're here thanks to our friends at Papa Murphy's. Order online for the big game this weekend and save $3 off any large or family-sized pizza with promo code 610. And by Shelter Insurance, an insurance company you can trust. Visit shelterinsurance.com. It's always an honor when we're joined by the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs here on 610 Sports Radio, Clark Hunt. Thanks so much for stopping by again. This is just a routine for you on an annual basis now. It's not a bad gig.
Yeah, it sure is. We're thrilled, obviously, to be back in the big game this coming Sunday. I always enjoy visiting Radio Row, but when we're playing in the game, it's even more special.
It feels like at this stage, I know that like you kind of like they're like, well, you don't want to get used to it, you don't feel like you get used to it, but in your end, you know, like not having to play in it makes it a little bit easier for the like, no, that's fine. I kind of like. Do you like getting used to the feeling of like, this is good for me?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes for a busy couple of weeks, but we'll take that every year. I spent the last couple of days with the team, and I will say they know the routine now, having been through it several times, and as recently as last year, they're definitely in a routine. They know exactly what's coming. Opening night last night, for example, with all the media there, they really enjoyed that. So we're ready to go.
I know this is always the plan. Sometimes best laid plans, right? So you go back and you hire Andy Reid, and then a few years later you go with Patrick Mahomes in the draft. I know that the plan is, hey, we're going to become thoroughly interested. But even at that point, could you have envisioned 4 Super Bowls in 5 years?
Yeah, well, Coach Reid gets the credit for the success that we've had really over the last decade. And of course, from the day he came into the building, the culture changed. We went from having a very difficult season in 2012 to winning the first 9 games in 2013. And something that gets forgotten is Andy had a pretty impressive resume already, having been to 5 NFC championship games with the Eagles, having made 1 Super Bowl, but he didn't win the Super Bowl, so he didn't have that Super Bowl success. So that was part of his makeup for sure, and we've just benefited from his leadership over the last 11 years. Obviously, drafting Patrick and having the franchise quarterback, which is sort of a key part of building a team that can consistently compete for championships, has been very helpful. But we've been very blessed, no doubt about it.
I know that the tarmac story we're not going to really leave. How many minutes into the first conversation with Andy Reid from the end was, I'm going to hire him. We're good. Like, how long did it honestly take?
It probably took an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we just both could tell that the chemistry was great. And I didn't have to prevent him from leaving. He didn't want to leave, right? In fact, I was a little oblivious to the fact that there was a plane sitting right behind me with the door open and the engines running. I shouldn't have been, but I learned from him later, that he was supposed to get on that plane, but somewhere in the middle of our interview, he had canceled it.
We're talking to the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs, Clark Hunt, here on 610 Sports Radio. Did you ever think you would have a football team here that's become sort of the villain of the NFL? It was a little bit of the theme last night with the crowd booing Mahomes and Kelsey, but it speaks to the success, right? I mean, usually in sports, when you win a lot, people find ways to hate you a little. Did you ever think your franchise would be in that spot?
No, I really didn't, and hadn't thought a lot about it. I mean, I think a lot of us know how we felt about the Patriots when they were on their amazing 2-decade tromp through the NFL with success, and to think that we're maybe in the same position is hard to believe. It's easy to think back to Super Bowl 54 when I really felt like the entire country was pulling for us, and they were pulling for Andy specifically because he hadn't won the Super Bowl, and we had the narrative of going 50 years without going to the big game or winning the big game. So we felt a lot of support then. I'm hoping by the time we get to the game on Sunday that the Chiefs Kingdom will be there in full force and will drown out those Raiders and 49ers fans.
I do think some Chiefs fans, just judging from the reaction last night, enjoyed seeing this beautiful stadium they got here, but enjoyed seeing the Chiefs logo all over the stadium. The locker room's got the Chiefs logo. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, it's very fascinating walking around Allegiant Stadium, which is so branded Raiders, as is their practice facility where the Chiefs are practicing is very much branded Raiders, and periodically you'll see a Chiefs logo on the wall, and it's hard to reconcile the two going together. But yeah, we're glad to be here. We appreciate Mark Davis's and the Raiders' hospitality and the great facilities they have.
It's like we know know that obviously the Super Bowl coming up in a few games is a big story, but obviously you guys and the Royals are very busy with the future stadium project and for renovations at Arrowhead. When you looked at Arrowhead and you guys were honestly trying to decide between a new building and a stadium, how hard was the nostalgia part of it? You know what Arrowhead meant to you and to your family and has meant to your family for so long, when trying to decide where to take that money next year?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say how thankful we are to the Jackson County Legislature for putting the issue on the ballot. And we've had a tremendous partnership with the city of Kansas City and Jackson County that goes back 5 or 6 decades now, and we hope to be able to extend our stay in Kansas City and Jackson County specifically here on April 2nd with that initiative. We did go through a very thorough analysis of whether it made more sense for us to build a new stadium or to renovate Arrowhead. And for a lot of reasons, we kept coming back to Arrowhead really being the right answer. We had the renovation that was 17, 18 years ago now that helped bring the stadium into the modern era. And even though you have all these new buildings around the NFL, which are great, right? We love going to SoFi. It's an amazing stadium, Legion, AT&T, etc. Arrowhead has weathered the test of time. It really has. It provides what we need to be successful in the National Football League. But there is also a part of it that is very emotional for our family, and I really think for Chiefs fans in general. Chiefs fans and NFL fans love coming to GEHA Field at Arrowhead because it is iconic. It's one of the great stadiums in the NFL. It's a little bit like going to Lambeau. I think every NFL fan at some point has to go to Lambeau. Arrowhead has that same kind of feel and notoriety. So that was certainly part of the calculus in the end.
Specifically in the renovation, I know full details haven't been announced yet, but my understanding is that a retractable roof or a roof of any sort is not part of the renovation. What was the thinking with that as well? Is it kind of what Arrowhead has been, or how much discussion was there about adding that to the stadium?
Yeah, that was something that we tried to accomplish 20 years ago when we did the renovation at that time, and unfortunately that didn't pass. Probably in retrospect, that would have been very tough to accomplish from an engineering and architectural standpoint. We like playing in an outdoor stadium for a lot of reasons. Like having the guys playing on grass. I think that's something that makes Kansas City attractive from a free agent standpoint. We also like playing in the elements in December and January. We think that gives us an advantage, and I would point to this year's wildcard game as a prime example of that. Right, that was a cold evening for sure, but I think it was to our advantage to be playing in that environment. So the renovation plans do not include a roof.
If you're able to get this passed on the ballot, do you think that you guys will need this more for just making sure the stadium can hold together for the amount of time you guys would like to be under the renovation of Jackson County? Or do you think it comes with additional features for the building? Or what does that split look like?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of both. When you're dealing with a stadium that's 50 plus years old, there are structural and infrastructure issues that you just have to stay on top of. One of the reasons that we have the opportunity to do another renovation is because the county, the sports authority, and the Chiefs have done such a good job of maintaining the stadium. I can think of other old stadiums in the NFL, many of which are no longer in use, that you walked in, you felt like the building was falling down around you. We've been very conscious about trying to maintain Arrowhead as a top-flight NFL stadium, and that certainly will be our focus going forward as we take that building into its 6th, 7th, and 8th decade. We're going to have to make sure that we take care of the infrastructure things. But at the same time, there are going to be new features, right? We're focused on new features on all 3 levels of the stadium because we want every fan that comes to a Chiefs game to appreciate new amenities. We'll also plan on doing some things in the parking lot, assuming that the Royals leave Kauffman Stadium. So we want to make what I think is one of the best NFL game day experiences even better.
With the vote happening on April 2nd, is there a timeline on when you expect to be able to announce some of those specifics?
Yeah, our goal is to get those out there in the next month. We know we're sort of short on time now. We're almost exactly 2 months away from that vote right now, and so we want to make sure that the voters have that information as soon as possible.
We're talking to the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs, Clark Hunt, here. All guests are presented by Spice and Foods, the official sauces of the Kansas City Chiefs. There were some reports or rumors out there over the last couple of weeks around Andy Reid and his future. There was one report that suggested perhaps he could retire. In your conversations with Andy, what do you make of those reports, and do you believe that he's going to be coaching for many years to come?
Yeah, I've been fascinated to see the number of articles out there speculating about Andy's future. I have no sense from him that he's ready to hang it up. He loves what he's doing. He is energized by this team. He has one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I'm not expecting him to step down at the end of the season, and look forward, hopefully, to him coaching the Chiefs for many more years.
I think the way we always looked at it is, as much as like Andy has been a football guy maybe since like we can go to the punt, pass, and kick video or whatever we have to prove Andy is a football guy. We always had a hard time imagining, like, for a guy who loves coaching as much as he does, getting Patrick Mahomes, like getting that level of quarterback play, I feel like as a coach, like in your conversation with Andy, wouldn't it be a really difficult thing to want to not be in?
Yeah, certainly that would be my perspective on it, and I know he loves coaching Patrick. The two of them, their minds, I think, really think alike, and Andy's in the middle of one of the greatest runs in NFL history right now in terms of AFC Championship success, Super Bowl success. So hopefully that's a motivating factor for him to stay with us for a long time.
We were talking about as it relates to Bobby Witt Jr. When you have a player like Patrick Mahomes, is that the easiest check you ever signed? Like, we feel like that's how it must have been next door. Been like, yeah, that's fine. We're happy to pay Bobby. Is that the easy check to sign?
Yeah, when we did Patrick's original deal, which had a face price of $500 million, which sounded just incredible. I had $500 million. It no doubt was a lot of money. But when you have a player of Patrick's caliber, those are easy checks to write.
One thing that Patrick mentioned on the stage with you after the AFC title game when you were getting the Lamar Hunt Trophy was also your mother and Norma and having that patch this year. Does that make this year even more special, just knowing that she was honored throughout this season?
Yeah, it sure does. And I would go back to last year's Super Bowl, and as a family, we felt so fortunate that we were able to get her to that game because her health was already failing. And it was so fantastic and uplifting to see her get to celebrate another Super Bowl win in what would end up being her last Super Bowl. Certainly, starting with that onstage ceremony last Sunday when we won the AFC Championship, all the way through the Super Bowl is going to be very emotional for our family. I've found myself thinking about her and my dad a lot over the last 10 days. Patrick was so thoughtful to mention winning the Lamar Hunt Trophy with my mother's initials on the jersey. So she'll be in the back of our minds for sure. And I know she and my dad are looking down and be cheering on the Chiefs on Sunday.
Which of their Super Bowl traditions do you find yourself carrying on? Like, you don't go to that many Super Bowls without having some things to do for every single one of them.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we always did with my mom when we got to the Super Bowl was we would stop outside the stadium as a family and take a photo, with the logo for that year's Super Bowl. So we'll probably do that in her honor this year.
Lastly, before we let you go, we do our game prediction brought to you by Spice and Foods, the official sauces of the Chiefs. How do you see this thing playing out on Sunday?
Well, the 49ers are an incredible team, right? They clearly deserve to be in the game. They've had an amazing season. It's going to be a huge challenge for us to beat them. But no surprise, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to come out on top, and what'll no doubt be a very close game.
Clark, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Great being on with you guys.
That is Clark Hunt, Chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs here on Radio Row in Las Vegas, and set for the big game on Sunday against the 49ers.
Thank you.
Think about the path you asked him about. So what is it? An hour and 20 minutes or so, an hour and a half, maybe.
He was like,
And it was, he was quick to point out. It wasn't, everybody's made it seem like, oh, we didn't let Andy leave. But also, like, it was one of those where Andrew Reid thought it was a perfect fit, and obviously could not be more happy with how this thing turned out. I thought the stadium stuff was interesting. That's something we get asked about all the time. It's the games, it's the stadium. And we already had heard it confirmed that the track and roof is not part of the renovation plans. And outdoor football being part of it, like service being part of it, but also you do wonder with the overall cost of the renovation. How much what's the split? What's the split? Yeah, would the roof be feasible for an engineer? I'm biased on this. I would like the idea of having a retractable roof because you can still have it open for the games. Because I love outdoor football as well, but you have a retractable roof because you can get a Final Four and have 150 people out and bring in rates and top. And it sounds like in the next month we'll get some more details on exactly what the renovations are. Because so much of the money might have to go on some and stuff that nobody's ever going to see, but they're also, it's you mentioned all three levels. The stadium are going to have some renovations, so we're going to see what that actually
I imagine some of it is weird because, like, it might be things like videos in the future. I don't know, the average fan notices every single time that's the case. Maybe a little, right? That's across the board. But he's trying to make, and this is like, when they admit it, 25 years, that's what it's going to impact. To me, that is the biggest signal to be like, yeah, we do want to. He mentions rainbow. I've told you, Hoffman and Aaron are stuck in a weird industry. The classic NFL stadiums like Lambeau are 40, 30, they're way older than that. Same with the classic baseball stadiums. Wrigley are way older. And you're not new enough to be like, well, let's just, let's just do a massive renovation and have another 50 or 60s. Right? Or you're stuck where it's like the 80s or 90s and you're like, get rid of it. Nobody wants the stadium in 1991 to still be the buildings that they did. I thought they were just stuck in a weird. And this takes them further away from that. No, they'll never be as old as Lambeau, and they will be way older than just about every other. Which means they will be one of those historic venues that, like, to Lambeau this year, that people do visit. And you hope that the renovations continue.
Absolutely. I think the majority of people look at Arrowhead and the history that goes into it and probably have a preference for renovation over the Raiders. To me, at some point in time, we're going to have but that's 4 years from now. That's 4 years from now. So for the time being, we're just going to continue with Arrowhead and renovate it. If we get some more details, closer to April 2nd. Don't forget, April 2nd is when I think early voting because it starts. Is it 3 weeks from now? Maybe like February 26th or something like that. Maybe February 29th is the deadline for the Royals to announce what they claim to announce by where they're going to put the sound. And that is also, as Clark Hunt mentioned there, part of the planning on the renovation that the Royals are out of there so that they can do some things with the parking. We didn't get any specific details, but it's
turn it into apartments or something. Because I'm cool. I've seen those apartments. I love Kaufman. I don't want it to be destroyed.
Just demolish it. Royals go downtown. It's just going to happen. And then they'll have something.
The other thing.
And Reed retirement.
Okay, you and I have never been in this sense.
Yeah.
We're shut down. From here, Clark Hunt, he said, I get no sense from Randy. He's ready to hang it up. He could not sound more sure. Yeah,
you'll hear tomorrow. Brett Beach is going to join Festival in the morning to the 6 o'clock hour. And you'll hear what Brett Beach has to say. They asked Brett Beach his thoughts on they were rumors. I don't. That's why the Mike Flores have never made sense because nobody within the organization is remotely concerned that is something that is of Andy Reid at this point. And so I hope that does put a lot of that to rest, specifically now here at Clark Hunt.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't. I don't know why it wouldn't, at that point, put anyone. It's the owner. It's the owner. That's if Andy's given anybody an indication, remember like when Ned Yost turned out he told Nate, he had told the general manager and the owner, they knew like way before. That's the kind of person you let know ahead of time so that they can already be thinking about it. So yeah, I definitely think was that when the Super Bowl was we'll go from there and see what comes next.
We are here in Las Vegas for our big game coverage, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Community America Credit Union, proud to be the exclusive banking partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Get your Chiefs checking account, including the exclusive Chiefs banking account at ChiefsCheck.com. So I was seeing a few things come out of today, some of the media availability away from where we're at. There's the team hotel that has some of the availability, and Andy Reid, of course, is speaking to the media. He said, quote, Joe Thuney is a long shot to play. You asked me that question about an hour ago, or less than an hour ago, and that's kind of where we were at. I think I said like 10 to 15% chance. I was asked this morning on a station, is he going to play or anything like that? It just read on it too. If you say it's a long shot on TV,
I don't know why you would assume that. I mean, yeah, why you would assume he would get on the field. Sure. Yeah. Because at this point, there's no real clear indication he's going to be available consistently. I told you. I just don't think I respect. If Alex Brady wants to try all week and take the Hail Mary and see where he is at the end, I got no complaints. Okay? I mean, I understand why he'd want to wait till the very last minute in order to make sure that for sure that would be the case. But you can't the guy's 70%.
Also,
That's a really good thing.
Also, Andy was asked about Kadarius Toney, who we all know. Had the Instagram post last night, gave an interesting explanation. We're gonna, we got some news and things around today. Maybe we'll talk more about it tomorrow. But just we're wondering where Andy is at. Since Toney has been practicing, see how it goes for Sunday.
Yeah,
The one disappointing thing I did hear today, this one stinks because we talked about it yesterday and I was excited. He said the chances of McKinnon playing are slim. And we've talked about the benefit of having Jared McKinnon. Now, having surgery January 2nd, we all assumed the season was done, but I got excited when I saw they opened up his practice window. But it sounds like practice window is what it's going to be, unless I should think that would be pretty far-fetched to think that we would say, he's got a slim chance to play. So it's more likely to be McKinnon playing than Joe Thuney. Slim, long shot, which one's worse? Pick your word.
Sure. I was more concerned about it before at least Clyde did a respect. Like there were times earlier this year and last year, I'm like, please get Jerick McKinnon involved. I desperately want him to be available right now so that they could use him. Clyde, well, not dynamic in the red zone the way he is. Like I can give credit. Clyde's in a perfect fit. If he wasn't perfect, he would just sit around and that's all it would be. He'd be a perfectly fine backup running back who does a semi-acceptable job or an acceptable job when Isaiah Pacheco is in. And I'll be honest with you, I don't want a lot of carries for him anyway. I want a lot of Isaiah Pacheco in the final game of the season with the Super Bowl on the line and everything else going.
Yeah, give me another 24, 25 carries. They've done that twice in the playoff run. And the only reason, Cody, that I think he didn't get that against Buffalo is that he's got doubled up on plays. I mean, he had 15 carries, but which seems small. The Chiefs ran half the plays of the Buffalo Bills. Otherwise, he probably wasn't. It would have been, I think, truly 3 plays in a row or 3 games in a row. He would have had 24 or 25 carries. I don't know why that's going to change. Also, the toe and ankle off. They can manage anyway. They can shoot. Well, next year he's good to go. That's how effective he is. Such a key piece. Everybody asks about Kelsey Mullen's job. I think. Isaiah Pacheco is massive for this offensive team. He said it or at least was he. The only thing that matters, that was 4 players on the field. We know. So, we understand what he does for this team and what it will rely on. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Fingers crossed. McKinnon
look, long shot. If he gets on the field, great. If not, at least I'm comfortable with the players they have.
All right, coming up next as we continue here on Radio Row. Still got a half hour to go on day number 2 from Radio Row. We'll get to what's trending. We'll also get back into a little bit on last night's media opening night and how everything went down with that. In particular, as we asked Clark, the villain role the Chiefs continue to embrace here in Las Vegas.
Feels bad.
He said that, and then he was like, "We can hear you in between breaks." Clark, they could barely hear Clark. Spectre,
Who couldn't hear Clark?
On the video.
Spec
on
texted
video.
me. Spec texted me
This is
that.
my issue though. Like, video, this is not a shot at you. I love the video.
Yeah.
If the radio side, that's all I care about. Big time.
Oh, yeah,
is
no,
the
yeah.
radio. The video is added benefit. If it works, it is unbelievable.